follow.
Hello and welcome to Trinity Talk Live, water cooler conversation from a Christian perspective. I'm your host, Ken Coughlin, and we are starting a new 3-week series this week. We are calling this series Matthew 25, Showing Love to Those in Need. For the next 3 weeks, we're going to be on the road at different charities here in Harford County, Maryland. And our series is based upon Matthew 25, specifically verses 31 through 46. I'm not going to read you the whole thing right now, but that's the story about the sheep and the goats, where Jesus talks about the king separating the sheep on one side and the goats on the other side. And it says, "For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me." Then the righteous will answer him, "Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger, invite you in, or needing clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and go to visit you?" The king will reply, "Truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me." So that's the inspiration for the 3-week series we're going to be bringing you, where we're going to be showing you different ways to help people in need. Both to show you certain resources that are out there if you or someone else is in need, and this is the type of resource you need to have available to you. And also just a way for, people lots of times know that in general that there's opportunities out there, but they don't know specifically what they are and how they can actually serve and fulfill this commission that comes from Matthew 25. So hopefully over the course of the next 3 weeks, we're going to give you some ideas on how you can accomplish that. And not just, obviously, for those of you that are local to us here in Harford County, Maryland, then we're giving you some very specific ideas. But we're also going to be talking over the course of each episode about those of you that are outside of this area might be able to start up some ministries like what you're going to see here over the next 3 weeks yourself. So please make sure you tune in for the rest of this episode. Stay tuned in for the next 2 weeks as well to complete the whole series. So what we're going to do this week, we are starting out at Found in Faith Ministries. Next week, we're going to be at the Welcome One Emergency Shelter. And on the third week, we're actually going to be technically back at Trinity, but we're going to be out at our food closet building, which is a separate building, to talk about our food ministry out there. So why don't we get started here today at Found in Faith Ministries. I have 2 guests joining me here today. And just to get things going, why don't you go ahead and just tell us, everybody, who you are and one little thing about yourself.
Hi, I'm Evelyn McSorley. I'm the program director here at Found in Faith Ministries, and I'm a Harford County resident, and been involved with furniture ministry for probably about 10 years, but have been involved with Found in Faith since, I think, 2012?
Yeah, like 16, yeah.
16? Oh, my goodness. Yes.
15,
But there's a definite need in Harford County, and I see that there is such a gap when people are trying to rebuild their lives and moving out of homeless shelters, and they get their first job and they get a place to live, but they realize that they move into a house and it's just so empty. And I just think there's such a waste in the area, and to connect the client with the donors and all is just a wonderful thing, because without it, so many people would go without. And the donors are looking for a worthwhile cause, and I love being involved in that.
Well, excellent. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah.
And who is this lady over here on the end?
Hi, my name is Alicia Hamilton. I am the founder and chairman of Found in Faith Ministries. I've been working with Evelyn here since like 2015-16. And other than that, also Harford County resident, my whole life, born and raised. I'm a single mom here, so I've got my hands full. We'll say that.
Well, I'll tell you, the reason I kind of wanted to start out with this particular ministry to kick off this series, there are a couple of ways we could have done it. We could have kind of done it, I guess, in somewhat of a chronological order. I know that you mentioned the homeless shelters and things like that. We could have started there. But in my experience anyway, and it's just anecdotal, I think, people generally have an idea that there are homeless shelters out there. They generally have an idea that there are food closets out there. But this is a very unique type of ministry that I don't think a lot of people know about, that this type of thing even exists. And so I felt, no, this is where we should lead off. Just in general, and we'll get into the history of it in a minute, but what is Found in Faith Ministries? What is furniture ministry? What do you provide?
Well, we provide essential items. So when we say essential items, I think of people that are moving into an empty apartment, don't have a place to have a meal. They don't have a sofa or a bed, especially. There's such a need for beds. So can you imagine, somebody that has their first place and they're excited to have the roof over their head, things of survival, food, roof over the head, and they move into a place, but it's so empty. It's so empty. And I think it can be so sad because one minute they feel like they have everything and then they have four walls and it's like, where do we go from here?
Mm-hmm.
And I think for the longest time, people would maybe just ask around, or a friend of a friend would give a sofa, or a lot of it was word of mouth. So it's wonderful to be kind of on that path. It's like the referral system is great because every agency has something that they do special, fulfilling a need. But I think there's almost like a, what would you call it? Pathway.
I get, well, yeah.
Pathway.
Yeah, path. Yeah.
Where, you fulfill one need, but there's still somewhere else to go from there. And a lot of the clients, they're trying to rebuild their lives. They're getting jobs. But think of furniture, how much furniture costs to purchase. Well, that paycheck may seem like a lot if you haven't worked in a long time, but it goes really quick. And we also don't want people to get into financial difficulties because they're renting furniture. And I think it's a bit overwhelming to realize, oh my gosh, I really have to furnish this empty apartment, which is wonderful to have a place to call home or to house, but it doesn't feel like home because it's an emptiness feeling. And I think somebody that works 40 hours a week and, they're like, oh my God, I'm doing everything right to rebuild, my life, but they don't have a place to sit down and have a meal or even a bed to sleep on, so I just think
well, you're getting into the why. So the what we do is provide furniture and home goods for people that are transitioning to stable housing, not just homeless people, but people that have had a house fire and need to rebuild, people that are coming out of recovery, domestic violence victims, all sorts of, it spans the gamut. It's not just kind of the typical stereotypical veterans, yep.
Mm-hmm. Single parent households,
right? So that's what we do. Yeah. But the why we do it is because, as everyone's mentioning, we truly are filling a gap, not just a gap in services from a community perspective, but a gap in these people's lives and their path to success and their path to self-sufficiency. So that's, and we're also filling a gap for the donors. We've really come to realize that, there are so many donors and so many wonderful people that are just wanting to give and make sure the pieces are being reused instead of just going to the junk pile. And so we really are providing a service to donors as well.
Well, yeah, especially like we're in a military area here. We get the Aberdeen Proving Ground here, and so you got people. We were just talking before we went on the air about some folks that I know that just had to move out of the area and had to get rid of some of their furniture. And people, a lot of people have some items that I think they've had for a while. They're nice. It's like, well, we don't want to throw it out. We can't take it with us, but we want it to be put to good use.
Right.
And so, yeah, I agree. I think you are actually providing a good service to the donors as well. You started this thing, is that right?
Yes.
Tell us about that. How'd this get started?
This particular organization, it was just, it actually started out as a for-profit business idea. I was helping a friend organize, and they had a bunch of stuff that they wanted to get rid of. And I thought, I can help them, I can help people get organized and then pass along their unwanted things to organizations in the county that I know that are accepting those items. I'm really kind of connected with county resources. And after a while and just kind of trying to figure out how that would work, God really kind of put it on my heart that my heart was more about the serving and the ministry piece of it than it was about the for-profit business making money piece. Obviously, we're a nonprofit organization now, so a financial aspect is still important, but it's the mission, it's the driver that really made the difference. So I just started kind of reaching out to, going to different community events, networking things, that sort of thing, just getting out there, talking to people about my vision and, what a need that I really saw that wasn't being met. And that's how I ended up meeting with Evelyn because Bel Air United Methodist Church, I found out, had a furniture ministry going that was just a word of mouth kind of thing, just underneath of their church umbrella. So I ended up meeting with her and kind of, we didn't start working together right away, but I got connected to this project, this little old lady, cutest little lady. She had like 30 pieces of furniture, and I thought, this is way over my head. So
it's over my head too. It's over my head too.
But I call it Evelyn, but that was the first project that we worked on. I think that was in maybe February 2016, or maybe it was 2015. In any case, that's kind of how things got rolling. And from there, we ended up meeting another lady, Mildred Hopkins, who volunteers at Welcome One Shelter. She stepped up. Another lady, she'll run circles around everybody, but she goes to Fallston Presbyterian Church, and she saw the need just coming from Welcome One alone, stepped up to meet it, was running a furniture ministry out of her garage, and helped the church people at her church were supporting that. And so we just kind of all came together and said, you know what, there's a much greater need in this county that any one church can provide. So it's just been this beautiful thing of just different churches, teams coming in, getting involved, and here we are.
There's a lot of I don't want to say small ministries, but there's a lot of people that have their heart into the furniture ministry. So they actually maybe make announcements at church, and they collect items. Hey, we know a family that needs a bed or whatnot. And I think we've kind of networked with a lot of smaller, groups that just, they know that, by word of mouth, by calling each other. And I think we've given them a place to call. So we've helped each other out in a lot of ways. So, and you were talking about the donors. Donors that stand out to me right now that really, really seem appreciative. We have a lot of donors that have family members that are deceased, and their children are clearing out the space, and they have a really, really hard time, giving away mom's favorite whatever dishes or sofa. And I think they find a lot of comfort in knowing that, well, my goodness, this stuff is going to someone that truly needs. And it's that feeling of, I'm not throwing mom's beloved whatever away. And I think there's a service on both ends. I always thought of it as a service to the people that were in need. But the donors really, really feel comfortable donating the furniture to us. And it's help on both ends.
You mentioned being intimidated by 30 pieces of furniture. You have a lot more than that now.
Well, this was a one-time.
Oh, yeah.
Well, this was a house.
And also, so the big piece of that is that we recently moved into this building. This building's 4,800 square feet. We're not using all of that for furniture storage. We actually sublease a little bit of it in the back. But prior to that, we were Bel Air United Methodist has a property on it's an old house, an old mansion, lovingly called the Homestead, and it's about 800 square feet. So, so we went from 800 square feet and couches, standing up on end and having to pull stuff in and out of a doorway. It was very difficult, but I'll tell you, even, through that, as we started to work together, we ended up moving, last year, fiscal year 2017, we moved, $18,000 some odd dollars worth of in-kind goods throughout that door. We served over 150 recipients and 150 donors. Cause like I said, we count those too. Wow. So that's some big numbers we had like 15 volunteers total, 5 or 6 really committed ones. And but
as word got out, we definitely needed to grow. And this is amazing that people can come in, they can physically see the items that they need, choose the items to their liking. So it's much different from where we started out. We managed, but the growth is just amazing. And it's
this really is a neat facility. I mean, it really is. I never went to your old one, but I can see there's a little bit of difference to what you got going on here and standing up pieces of couches on end. So, so let me ask you this. So let's talk a little bit about the process. So if there's somebody out there who's either watching or knows someone who does have this need, all right, how do they go about getting hooked up with this particular ministry?
So for right now, the best thing to do is to call our ministry number. Do you want me to
go ahead?
Okay, it's 443-519-2464. And there's just a little option menu. If you're in need of furniture, press 2, I think it is. And you'll get connected right to Evelyn, who's the program director. In the future, we are going to be a referral only basis, but right now that just takes time, management operations thing to set up. So right now, if you have a need and you present a need, we're gonna accept that as a true need. So.
And then what can people expect once they make that phone call to you, I guess, and what's the next step?
Yes. I would speak with them, find out what their needs are, how we can help them. Usually they're pretty specific on exactly what they need. We would set up an appointment for the showroom. Our normal showroom hours, our regular showroom hours are Wednesdays from 12 to 3, Fridays 3 to 6, and the first and third Saturday of the month, 9:30 to 12:30. Now, we do work off appointments. We have a loading dock, so we want to prevent people from having a waiting period. They'll have time to come in and it won't be crowded, and they can kind of pick and choose what they want. So they know what they need when they come in. Now, we also have housewares. We have a home good hallway, which houses everything from linens, towels, pictures, and then we have a kitchenware room. So in addition to coming in to pick the items on their list for furniture, they can choose household items. And many times they don't realize what all they need to set up a place. And we just open it up and they can pick the dishes out and the silverware and, whatnot, just to have, cook, the extras to cook. And a lot of times you don't even know that, gosh, I really could use this, So it's...
So is there anything they need to know ahead of time that they need to be prepared with ahead of time before they come here?
Well, so we do encourage their own transportation. That is a big deal. It's just about, reaching out and kind of thinking what resources they might have available to them already, whether it's just taking a little bit of ownership over the process. There's other reasons for it too. One, we're all volunteer based. So if we have to deliver to you, one, you're going to be getting things that we're picking out. You don't get the option to pick it out because you're not able to come here. But two, it's probably going to take several weeks longer because of just scheduling and lining all those, all those things up. So if you're able to reach out to friend, brother, sister, mother, uncle, whoever, spend $25 to rent a U-Haul. I know it's still a cost, but it's much less cost than furnishing.
Right.
Yeah. So, we do encourage that. And I think you said, it used to be we delivered a lot more and had a longer waiting list, but now you said about 80% of clients.
I would say 80% of the people come in, and I think they enjoy it because then it's more personal and they can pick the items that they need.
Well, especially with this beautiful showroom where you can see everything.
Right.
That's now. Yeah.
We wanted to set up the space so that it really, even though it's free furniture, it still feels as dignified as you would if you were going into, a regular furnishings showroom. So, yeah.
So what about, do they have to have an idea before they come here? For example, we talked a little bit beforehand about a list or something of what their furniture needs were. What's that exactly?
Well, they will tell us exactly the items that they are in need of. So when they come in to pick up furniture, they're coming in for specific items, furniture-wise. Housewares, they can freely choose whatever they need. Because we have appointments scheduled. So a lot of the furniture, we know how many people are coming in for a sofa, how many people are coming in for a bed. So we don't want our clients to come in and all of a sudden the bed that they thought they were getting is not here. So it's really important to interview the client and find out exactly what we have and what we don't have. Because if they're coming in for a bed and we don't have any beds, we'll want to schedule them a little bit later until something comes in. So that's really important to, know what they need, give them the opportunity to, give a list of exactly what they want to pick up. And sometimes people want to wait until all the items are in, especially if they're recruiting family or they're renting a truck. They don't want to come in one day and pick up a chair and then the next day pick up something else they're waiting on. And, we have kind of a tight schedule too. So we want to make sure that we can accommodate everybody, and fulfill all their needs.
Let's shift focus for a minute. We've been talking about, how people get hooked up with this ministry from the needs end. How about the donor end? Let's say you got somebody out there who has furniture that they want to donate. How do they do it?
Right. Same thing. You want to call the number, the 443-519-2464. And that you just press a different option, but we're really trying to keep a process in place. You actually will speak to another lady when you do that for the donors, and she sets everything up. But then it comes through Evelyn's hands. Yeah,
and then I work on the scheduling.
Right,
to make sure.
Donors come in by appointment as well.
Yeah, and there's a flow. Like right now, our inventory is rather high, and you have to be conscious of it. You have to have the furniture coming and moving at the appropriate time, which is a little bit tricky. Sometimes you get all donor calls or all, more people that have a need. And right now we have a lot of furniture in, so I have to kind of go with the appointments for the pickups first to
Right.
make sure that there's that even flow. It's a little bit tricky because, you just don't know, if everybody's cleaning house at the same time. You're like,
Right.
whoa, we need to make sure that we get stuff out too. So,
On the donor end of things, I'll say, like right now, if somebody calls and they want to offer a sofa, clearly we don't have space in the showroom right now, and we hate to tell people no, or that it might be, the appointment might be a few weeks out. Hopefully the tour will help people to understand it just has to do with the space thing. We want all the furniture.
Yeah.
But it just, even with this amount of space, we still, it's still an ebb and flow thing. We have to get some things out before we can get new stuff in. So
You mentioned you're volunteer based. What types of are there volunteer opportunities for somebody who maybe, okay, I don't have furniture to donate, but I want to help out with this ministry? What types of things do volunteers do for you, and what needs do you have?
Right. So we definitely have a couple of big needs. I would say operationally, the two biggest needs that we have are showroom attendants and our transport team. So the showroom attendants come in, and that is a very direct service thing. They get to work with the clients one-on-one, help them select items. They do, you do have to be fairly physical. We encourage them to bring their own helpers, but a lot of our showroom attendants like to jump in and, help move a chair or help move this, so we,
Including some people that come to shoot video podcasts, come
Right.
help with furniture too. a little bit.
yes, I do appreciate that. Yes.
We moved a couple
we
couches.
recruit no matter what. So, and then also our transport teams, that's definitely a physical job. You have to have physical capability for that. But groups of people go out together on the box truck and pick items up. More so from donors, like because Evelyn said, most of our recipients are coming in now. But that is a very physical job. The best thing about both of those, when you get teams together, we've got a number of different teams that come from different churches. It's a small group fellowship opportunities sorts of thing. And that's just great because you know that you get to look forward to, hey, on the third Saturday of every month, we get to go and do this together, and we're serving together, and we're fellowshipping, and
they make it fun too.
Yeah.
The breakfast beforehand, and there's a real fellowship to it. And we've got a couple groups. They joke around, and they want to work together, and it's a day for them to be together too.
Right.
So that works really, really well, especially when our groups can commit. It's not that they have to do it every week, but they look forward to, every third Saturday we get together. This is our day. And it really helps the flow of the furniture and the coordination, because when we have donors call, we know this particular day is open. Furniture is going to be moved. And for me, scheduling, it's wonderful. So the people that are familiar with each other, they just love working together, and they make it fun. They really do.
I do want to add, on the other end of things, obviously this showroom space has been a big commitment for us. So aside from the actual programmatic piece, on the other side of things, the planning and operations side, committee members, if you're not really into moving furniture too much or interacting with the clients, but we do have some community opportunities available, and that's just for people who like to get out and network and fundraise and are passionate and love the work that we're doing, but would rather do that at a coffee house meeting with somebody, than being in here and getting a little sweaty.
You got to give a shout out to Lindsay Pope.
Yeah,
she's
absolutely.
one of your committee members, and this is because of her, because that's what her job is, and she's doing it because she's the one that hooked us up together.
And she's out in the community and helping us spread the word, and that's a really big deal for us. We're a young organization, we're really a grassroots organization building, our focus is building a really strong foundation so that we can grow and offer more programs and things beyond just free furniture. We really want to be able to serve our clients in other ways, but we've got to start, excellent running, a well-established, good reputation furniture program, and have the funding and the community support behind us to be able to grow.
So if somebody, whether it's an individual or a church group, maybe wants to find out more about signing up for a certain day of the month or whatever like that, it's the same phone number?
Yep. Call a friend.
I'm sensing a theme here. We're just going to put that phone number on the screen over and over again throughout the episode.
It's all about process, right? If you get it going through the same funnel, and I believe that's option number 4. Yep.
So you also mentioned that obviously when you took on this facility, it was a big commitment.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to assume that also includes some financial needs.
Right.
Do you accept donations?
Absolutely. Yep.
And-
Yep. We sure do. And sponsorships, the rooms that you were able to tour, like Home Goods Hallway, the small kitchen and appliances, the mattress room. We do have sponsorship opportunities. You'll get a nice, beautiful plaque on there. And, yeah.
And same phone number?
Yes. Yes.
It's a magic phone number.
It is a
It does
magic
it all.
phone number. It
Does
is.
it all.
That's one of the
just
best
out of curiosity, if somebody
investments
just
we
wants
made.
to make a donation, or somebody they can just send a check.
Yep. Send it. So you can send a check directly to the address, which is 610 Town Center Drive in Joppa, and that's 21085. Or right on the website too, we do accept PayPal. So that's just right under donate financial contributions and click.
What's your website?
Oh, yes, foundinfaithmd.org.
Excellent. And it's tax deductible, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Excellent. So let's kind of close today by talking to someone. I mean, obviously, it's amazing what you guys have done here. I mean, really, and to hear the history and how it all came about, and to see where it's come, and just, I mean, you're talking, you two first started up 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
So you're talking, 2-3 years, and looking how far it's come. There may be. Well, I guess I should ask you this before we move on to that. Who do you serve? Do you have a geographic region that you actually serve people from?
Right. Yeah. So Harford County. We're Harford County focused right now. We do have contacts in Baltimore County.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody lives and wants to donate, that's another organization out there. But yeah, we are solely Harford County focused. There's a big need in this area, and yeah.
So if somebody from somewhere else in the country, maybe they're watching from Texas, California, wherever, and they're looking at this, think, hey, I didn't think about that. That'd be something that I'd like to get started. I think we've already kind of hinted on some things in the course of the episode. They may have thought, oh, I didn't think of that. Oh, yeah, I need that. Oh, I need that. Any other last pieces of parting advice you'd give to somebody like that that's thinking about maybe trying to start a ministry like this where they are?
So I would say if you don't have a specific vision for an organization that you want, the first thing that I would do is find out if anybody else in your area is meeting the need already. And not even necessarily in your area. When I started researching all this, there's actually a Furniture Bank Association website, and there's furniture banks all across the country that I had no idea. So if you don't have a specific vision, if there's already an established nonprofit that you could potentially branch out, and but they have the 501c3 already, they have the marketing, they have the website already, and just kind of start a chapter in your own area, that's like a super quick and easy way to get something going. But if not, the best thing you can do is just get out and start meeting people first. There's been so many wonderful people in this county that I've had the opportunity to sit down that have offered me their time, their expertise, and their guidance. And I mean, I wouldn't have met Evelyn. We wouldn't have met. That network piece is just critical. And when you reach out, people really are there to help you, and kind of guide you. And so that's number one for sure for me.
You got any advice to pass on? Words of wisdom. You've been doing this for a while before you even.
Yes. Well, there's words of wisdom. Patience. Patience comes to mind. I know that when we started working together, we wanted everything to happen really quick. And, you think it's just a matter of getting the furniture to the people, but there's so many moving parts. And Alicia's great at making connections. It never necessarily moves as quickly as we want, but I'm pretty proud of, where we've come. So determination, patience, just getting the word out, speaking about what we're excited about and what we're proud.
Patience is always good advice for anything, especially
for me. And I don't always have patience.
No. I'm the same way. It's like we started this podcast a little over a year ago, and it's first things I want the first episode to have 5 million views, and all. It's like, okay, it's not going to happen.
Right.
just be patient.
It's baby steps, don't you think?
We
want to be here, but we
I have a 20,000 square foot CAD drawing of
right.
And I was gunning for that too. Thank goodness I've got some good friends that were like, "Leash," But the best quote that I ever heard in regards to this, the foundation you build it on, you must maintain it on. And that really helped to kind of, there's a lot that goes into 20,000 square feet of space and management. So maybe,
as we grow, we keep adding on. We find out there's more that needs to be done.
Right.
It's more
growth,
jobs, more growth, more management. And I think we're learning as we go along. I mean, every time you think that this is our to-do list, we have another to-do list.
Yeah.
So that's where the more volunteers come in when you say,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, and they said
specialty,
that
yeah.
quote, you go from failure to failure. Success is going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. And I love that because you really do, like, we have not gotten everything right by any
No.
stretch, but you can't go, oh, we're so dumb for that. No, it's just like, we're learning.
It's a learning
We're learning.
process,
Maybe we
yeah.
need some guidance in that area. Let's figure that out. Let's go make those connections and get what we're missing and what we need.
We're constantly tweaking as we
Oh,
go
yeah.
along. Yeah. New situations arise, like, oh my gosh, I never thought of that. What are we going to do for this? We need to make a change.
Yep.
There's no
no blueprint.
There's no. We're making it as we go along.
Hence, if you start a new chat, if you love it, if you see that the furniture piece, because it really is a forgotten, like you said, you just didn't think about it. You think about food and clothing and shelter. Nobody thinks about furniture. So if you do have a passion, again, reaching out to, possibly somebody who's already got something going who you can really, we did learn a little bit from the organization in Baltimore County, but they're not a nonprofit organization. It's a ministry under a church. So a different model. Yeah.
Well, you got an event coming up here. A couple things here that I want to make sure we mention here. You open house coming up on September 13th. What's that?
Yes. Well, we just want everybody that's kind of been supportive and been hearing about us for a while. We want them to come and enjoy and celebrate and see, what's came of all of that. So from 4 to 7 p.m. on Thursday, September 13th, the doors will be open. Anybody can come in and take their own tour of the showroom area. Yep, absolutely. And we welcome anybody who wants to come down and check it out. It's going to be great.
And I might recommend, that might be a good idea. You were talking about, church groups, maybe getting a group together to come and volunteer, every, once a month or something like that. That might be a really good opportunity if there's anybody out there from a church that might be considering something like this to come in and kind of get the lay of the land and really see what you guys are all about.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
That'd be excellent. That. And I got another thing in this flyer about an online auction. What's that all about?
Yeah. So it's our first little toes in the water in terms of, fundraising. We really haven't had to do that too much prior to now. We were blessed. The owner of this building donated the use of it in kind for the first year, which was a huge financial burden lifted off of us to kind of get us in here and get moving. And a big investment in our ministry too. And I'm so grateful for that. But we've got to keep it going. We won't have a furniture ministry if the roof doesn't stay over our head. So the online auction will be kicking off August 6th. And if you have any, I'm not sure quite when this is airing, but
this tomorrow.
Oh, great! Hey, if you have any items to donate, we're taking all sorts of different things, and it's just going to be an online auction. So you can go to our website, check out, see if there's anything you want to bid on. Just a typical auction, like silent auction, but online.
Will they be able to find it through the ministry's website?
Yes. Yep. Through our website. Yep. And Facebook too. Faith Ministries is on Facebook.
It's on Facebook as well. So give them a like on Facebook.
Yeah.
So, all right. Anything that I've forgotten to mention that, you're thinking, is Ken going to get to it? Is Ken going to get to it? And he hasn't gotten to it. Now's the chance. Closing comments.
I don't think so. I thank you guys so much for coming, and
we appreciate this opportunity. Yes, getting the word out is what it's all about.
Yeah, and getting the need out. Yeah, I appreciate that you brought that up. That you're like, oh, I didn't even. And thanks for the first week. So.
Good timing. Good timing.
But that's kind of the point. Is I don't think. And people may not, and don't get me wrong, I don't want to, people may not know where the homeless shelters are or where the food closets are or how to get hooked up with that. So that's still a very, very important thing we need to get out there.
Right.
But I just think there's an extra layer to this ministry that I think, in addition to not knowing all that, I don't think a lot of people might not even know this type of thing exists in the first place. And frankly, in a lot of places it may not. You've indicated the resource that there are a lot of bank around the country, but...
The closest one to here, there's one in Silver Spring, and they serve primarily D.C. area, that Columbia, that sort of area. And then on that map, the next closest one is Philly. So in between Philly and DC, big open gap. And I think as Evelyn was mentioning, you've got these little ministries here. Fortunately, we're trying to get on that website now. So we have a dot, but yeah.
I think it's getting the information out there. That's the problem. You really did some research to find that. You were online, but somebody in need
doesn't know.
Doesn't
And they might not-
necessarily
they
have
might
a
not have
computer
internet
or the
access, a
research.
computer,
Right.
you know?
So letting people know is probably one of the most important things. They just don't know.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
Anybody that's watching now, one of the best ways that anybody can help us, if you're on one of the Facebook pages or wherever and you see somebody donating furniture, share our name and share our number and just say you can call. I mean, that's like the simplest, easiest way.
Yeah.
Call this number. They'll help you out.
Well, and if you're a church out there, especially in Harford County, and even if you're not in a position to come out here and volunteer, as we've talked about, add this ministry to your list of, your knowledge list, your resource bank, as far as, hey, this is out there. So that there's, if you have people come to your church that are looking for this type and have this type of need, that you know where to refer them, where to get them to. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
And thank you all for watching. If you did like this episode, do me a favor. Go ahead and click the like button. That's the thumbs up button right here on the YouTube page. Also, if you could, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Last check, I don't know, maybe it'll change by the time we air, but last I checked, we were at 298 subscribers, and I've been pushing to get to 300. I know there's got to be 2 people watching this episode that haven't subscribed yet that can subscribe, so do it now. As a matter of fact, we make it real easy. At the end of the video, you'll just watch to the end, a little subscribe button will come up, you can push on that, automatically taken care of. We're good. Also, share this video. We've talked about different ways of sharing this resource out there. One of the ways you can do that is by sharing this video. Put it on all your social media accounts. Let people know that this ministry is out there. Or again, if you're not in the local area, you can share it to let people know, hey, this is something that maybe we might want to try to get started in our local area as well. We do have a Facebook page here for Trinity Talk Live. It's at Trinity Talk Live Podcast. You can give us a like on there. Use that to give us feedback on episodes we put out there, or give us ideas for future episodes that you might like to see. Next week, again, we're going to be continuing our Matthew 25 series as we go to the Welcome One Emergency Shelter, also here in Harford County. So please make sure that you tune in for that. And I'll give one last shout out at the end of this series, the very last week of July, last Tuesday of July, we got a real special episode coming up. I've mentioned a few times, we got special permission to film on location at the Museum of the Bible in Washington, D.C. We've already been down and filmed that, and so I can tell you that it's going to be a really great episode. Make sure you tune in for that one. All right? So I want to thank you all one more time for welcoming us in here. This was really great. I had a great fun time. Hopefully we've been able to help each other out.
Yeah,
So,
thank you.
all right. And thank you all for tuning in, and God bless.
In your word we